Alright, Euge here again. My mixing tips series continues. This is drums part 2, kick drum. Let's listen the song first and then, let's go dive into details. So this is the same song I've used on all of my mixing tips videos. It's from my Neural DSP's Nameless X Quad Cortex plugin song. And these are MIDI drums, but these same rules applies like I showed in the part 1. I'm mixing these like real drums. So, these applies to, real acoustic drums too. But just for the recap, this is the kit. Nothing going on in the mixer, full bleed, so on. Okay, so that's the kick drums. There's two kicks, the normal kick and the kick sub. And on this mix, I used a trigger. So I'm gonna show you that trigger thing first, what you can do with your kick drum. So it's the Steven Slade's Trigger 2, and I'm using my preset called Tommy. I think this is kind of like Tommy Lee's, kick. I've muted the room sounds that comes with this, and this kick is clearly EQ'd. So that's the kick. This is how the kicks sounds. So I really like the overall feel, but I wasn't too keen on that, clackety clack. There was a lot of that, and for this mix I was looking for something fuller and smoother. And this, I'm pretty sure this kick there's a sub baked in. Listen, because there's so much lowered. So first, let's put all of these to like this, and how I'm EQing. There's usually 4 or 5 kind of key frequencies that applies to most kicks. Since we have the sub, we don't need that much lowered from this kick. So let's first take out some of that really low rumble. Now the sub is bypassed. Like that. And then, let's start from the top. 8K is usually good if you want to add that kind of presence and that snap. But this kick, as you hear, has so much, so there's really no need. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. Well, some of you might think that no, that was really good. I don't like it that much. Then another frequency what you may want to boost is usually between 2.5 and 4.5. That's kind of the whack and the smack. So let me show you both. So 2.5 is kind of whack, whack, whack. And 4.5 is kind of smack, smack, smack. And then usually there's something around low mids between 150, 300, 400, that kind of mud you might want to cut out. Let me show you that. that one there, that box in this cardboard. You can go usually pretty extremes with this one. And then, you know, the low end is depending what you want, what's the mix, but usually my starting point is always the 50 hertz, then I might go a bit lower or a bit higher. And for that I'm using a bell usually. I'm gonna show you the differences between that two. The bell is kind of more focused. The non-bell, it's a bit smoother, and then you can choose with the SSL. It's my go-to for everything. You can choose different EQ types. This brown EQ is kind of warmer and fatter, which sometimes works better. In this case, I think it works. And the black EQ is a bit sharper and more precise, more modern. Okay, now I think there's a little bit still too much of that click clack, so let me dial that back, and this I will do in the context of a mix. So first let's put the low end where it was. Here, the cuts, it's not just the EQ that changes with the black and blur, also the cuts. So this cut is it's way steeper. Like that. Like here, there's a difference. I think there's still a little bit something I wanna take. There's this kind of basketball frequency. Let me see if I can take out with this one actually. Yeah, that clickety click thing. And then, you know, what we want to do, we can compress the kick. This usually my go-to is between 2 and 5, and you know, slow attack, fast release, and then you know, whatever it needs. Here the attack becomes more, you know, the kick is just a bit punchier. And then how we can make this even more kind of the SSL quirk trick, which is I got this from, I don't remember from whom, but at least Andy Wallace used this trick a lot. It's very familiar, you know, when you hear Andy Wallace's mix, it's pretty much always there, this thing. Let me show you this in solo. So it's almost like adding a sample, this certain snap, especially if you listen to 90s, 2000s, you know, metal bands that Andy did. This one is there. Here, at a certain point, if the modeling of the plugin is done right, like on a real SSL, I work with the 4000, you get this little pop. Just need to find where the threshold is, where it kind of pops out, and then you can play with the range and, you know, release, you know, as you like. This works even with the trigger, although there's no bleed, so I don't need to gate this because it's trigger. I don't need to gate this to get rid of the noise and all the other instruments. I'm just using this gate as an effect now. Let's bypass again everything, and usually I'm using a compressor or EQ before the dynamic section. So then the compressor reacts to my EQ'd kick. You can choose if you put this way, now the EQ is post compressor, and now the compressor and the gate reacts just with the, you know, original non-mixed kick. But usually with drums, I prefer pre-dynamics. It's just a different sound. Okay, now everything is zero. Let's actually use black EQ in this example. So let's bypass the trigger. Let's put this to mix at 0. So now there's no triggering. And now we have the kick. It's this Yamaha kick. As you see, without any EQ, it's really, really snappy. So this is almost like a mix-ready kick. This kick is known for being quote-unquote mix-ready. So we're not going to use that. Let's use something we need to work a bit more on. Like this one. You know, if I play this song. Okay, not very good. Let's solo this first. I'm gonna EQ it now. We hear, no matter what we do, this kick don't quite, I'm cranking everything. So, you know, if you get a mix that has this kind of kick, this is to me, okay, it's trigger. Trigger time. All right, let's change into some other kick that, you know, let's take the Ludwig Vista Light. It's just examples of what you can do. Let's do all this like that. Okay, no compression, no expander yet. Everything is 0. EQ in, black EQ. Let's put the compressor like this. Hearing there is still this kind of basketball thing. So let me show you what's that frequency, I'm pretty sure. There's still a little bit bleed, but Black Salt Audio's silencer helps really well. And then, you know, clearly the reason I ended up using a trigger, because it just sounds to me quite a bit better than these two kicks. But the cool thing is with the Superior drummer that, you know, you can find your kick. I was just, you know, randomly choosing kicks. I wouldn't choose this kick. I wouldn't choose the previous kick. But you know what I do is what I did. I used the trigger. So let's engage the trigger and then EQ it accordingly. Use the snap trick. Okay, and now let's check out the sub kick. What I've done here is I've just cut it a little bit of that really low lows and added a little bit of 30 hertz, and then I cut, you know, everything from here that it's, you know, there's nothing below or above kind of 300, and I used this snap trick on the sub snap trick, or whatever you want to call it. To add a little bit punch to the sub also. And now there's no need for the silencer because it's a sample, okay? And like I showed on the part one, all of these are going to kick bus, and there I don't have anything. And then kick effects, you know, because this preset or this, you know, this is from the whatever here, and it comes with these room sounds, but I took them off because I usually like to do my own room sounds. So I'm sending the kick to 3 different things, to drum crush, which were all muted now. So now I'm gonna engage those, and you hear how it affects the whole drum kit and the kick too. So I'm just, you know, creating some kind of shading of space with the rooms. So there's short room and then medium room. And then there's crush, which is the Fatso. You can do this similar thing what Fatso does if you don't have the UAD interface or the satellite. You do this with the de-stressor and the tape simulator, quite close. So what this does is so it's just distortion. It adds sustain to the kick in this case, and parallel compression. It's an Eve, you know, it's classic setting, 2:1, 100 milliseconds recovery, 100 milliseconds recovery, slow attack, and then Pultec doing the, you know, low and high boost, kind of New York style parallel compression. And then sidechain, kick sidechain, this is something I do because let me show you a beat where this really, you'll hear what it does. Devin James, Surgeon Euphoria, this beat. So, hopefully you noticed that when I took this off, suddenly you couldn't really hear the kick, because this is 4 on the floor, so snare and kick, they are hitting the same time. To make the kick more audible and the drums more punchier, so whenever the snare hits, it adds around 200 and around 2K to kick, whenever the kick hits, it lowers, tucks down those exact same frequencies. And when they are not played together, this doesn't obviously, you don't hear anything, but when they are playing the same time, fall on the floor, snare and kick, same time, these frequencies are not disappearing, they just come from, you know, these frequencies, what usually comes from snare, comes from kick and vice versa. So it's just more audible, the kick and snare. That's cool trick. Okay, this was the kick drum. Hopefully you get, you know, tips, inspirations, whatnots. But just a short recap, you know, low end is somewhere around 50. To me, the top snap, if needed, is usually at 8K. Then the whack and snap are usually between 2.5 and 4.5 or either of them. But in this case, this sample had already so much of that, so that was fine. I just removed the around 900 to 1000 hertz, kind of that basketball flap frequency, which I don't care that much. And then you can, you know, obviously change the Q depending, you know, if you want a wider cut or narrower cut, you know. Usually the good starting point is this, where it's set at default on the SSL EQ, and then got rid of the boxiness, which is usually somewhere around here, depending on the kick. And then the low end is usually, you know, plus minus 50 hertz, and you can change the, you know, with the brown or black EQ in SSL's case, with bell or with the, you know, non-bell EQs. Then this kick, I think it had a sub baked in, so I took those really low frequencies out. And since this brown EQ's cut is so you know, it's not steep at all, you know, I needed to don't look at the numbers, just use your ears. And then this set had the sub, which I like. Sometimes if I don't have a sub when I'm mixing, I'm copying the kick track and I'm using it as a sub, because then you can really control the low end individually. And what I did with the sub here, just added a little bit of 30, those sub frequencies. That was the kick drum. I could probably show you a lot more, but this was, like I said, just an example and give you ideas how you can make your kick drums sound better. And remember, if the kick sucks, what you got when you mix, just use a trigger. These Steel Slates, these are, because these have all the velocities and everything, you know, what was on the real kick drum. So it's not like the samples back in the day where it was just one shot. But this plugin and these samples that comes with this, I think I used the kick I used was the Tommy kick. And then there's these different microphones. There's, you know, room mics and everything. But what I used was just the, you know, close miking, and I did the rooms myself. These rooms are pretty cool too, but because I didn't use this set on snare and on toms, then it's a different room than what I have. So I just I used these reverbs because I'm using them also with snare and toms, so they live in the same environment, so to say. Okay, thanks for watching. Until next time, part 3, which is snare. Take care. Bye.